Welcome back. We're going to continue with Pythagorean theorem. Now look at this problem we have here. If you watch the last video, you'll recognize that the numbers are all the same. We actually solved for C on the previous video. Go ahead and take a moment to set yourself up and yes, write it down and draw it, label it all again. So remember, we want to draw and label. Include the question mark for what you're looking for. That's very important to mark what you're looking for and write your formula down. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Remember that C is always the longest side and directly across from the right angle. Alright, so now let's get started and substitute this in. So I have A, the letter A, and I go to my picture and oops, I don't have A, so A stays in the formula. Don't put a question mark there, that doesn't work. Then I go look for B. Yes, I have a number for B. Don't put your units in here right now. Okay, so that's B squared. Remember the squared and the plus signs, that's all part of the formula, so don't take it out. Then C is 10, so it comes in as 10 squared. Watch your 2's, they have to be up in the air. Alright, now looking at this, A squared plus 8 squared equals 10 squared. That looks different than our last problem. Look at our last problem. When we substituted it in, C squared was by itself. And all the numbers were on the same side, and that's just math. Just had to do the math. And when I solved it up, I really just had to do the math there. So very simple type of algebra. This looks a lot different, doesn't it? So let's get started. Put your line down the equal sign. Put your pencil on the variable. What operation do you see? Well, I see that it's squared and it's being added. Oh, and I see all these things are being squared. So I can stop right here and clean this up before I start trying to isolate the variable. So I'm just going to do the math first. Remember your order of operations. If you've got a number that's got exponents, you can go ahead and solve it first. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Now, this looks a lot better. Put pencil on the variable. It's being squared. It's also being added to 64. But can I square it? Can I address the squared issue when it's being added to something? And no, I can't. So let's go ahead and move your 64. Do the opposite operation. The opposite of adding is subtracting. What you do to one side, you do to the other. Come down, you cancel. A squared. 100 minus 64, if you don't know it, just do it in your calculator. It's top first minus the 64, and you get your 36. Now we're not done. Put your pencil on your variable. What operation is it in? It's being squared. How do I undo a square? I take a root. What you do to one side, you do to the other. Just squeeze it in there. Come back and cancel. And bring down. Don't cancel your A off. You got to have your A. These things cancel. A gets released. What's the square root of 36? What number times itself equals 36? If you don't remember, second x squared, that gives you your square root sign. Put your 36 in, and it is 6. So what's the value of A? A is 6. Of course, we know that because it was the same problem as this one, but that's okay. So notice how it looks different when you're looking for A. Now let's just solve the same problem. So put 6 back in your problem, and let's pretend we don't know B. I want to show you how to solve for all the different letters. So everything is labeled. Put your formula down. Yes, write the formula again. Yes, I know that you know it. Now, substitute. Do you have a letter for A? A number for A? Yes, you do. 6 squared. Keep your plus signs, part of the formula. Do you have anything for B? No, it stays in. Keep the squared, that's part of the formula. Do you have something for C? Actually, you do. It's 10, and the squared stays in. Can't drop anything. Don't be leaving your stuff behind. Got to have it. Okay? Now, put your line down the equal sign. Look at your equation here. What should I do first? I got a variable. It's in an operation with this, and this is all being squared. So actually, we could clean this up, couldn't we, like we did the last problem? Let's clean it up. So let's square 6. leave your b squared, and square your 10. Now what do I do? Well, there's your b, and then here's what I hear a lot. Oh, it's being added to 36. Hold on a minute. Take your finger, cover up that stuff behind 36. What's the sign out here in front of 36? What do you see? If you said nothing, well, what's the sign for nothing in math? Okay, what's the understood sign if it's nothing? It's actually positive. So yes, it is being added, but it's not because this is the adding sign, it's because that is the adding sign. So now how do we move the positive 36 and get it away from a positive b? We use a negative 36. What you do to one side, you do to the other. Cancel and bring down. Notice you bring down before you do your math. Don't get caught up in your math before you do your canceling. Then just go to your calculator. 100 minus 36, 64. Pencil on the variable. Notice you just start again. Pencil on the variable, it's being squared. What's the opposite? Square root. What you do to one side, do to the other. Cancel, bring down. Then take it to your calculator and do it in your head. What number times itself gives you that? 8. So what's your value for 8? B, 8. So now look at the difference between solving for A and B and C. And then we'll work some problems in the next video.